Hello, today I'm going to show you how to get through college with ADD. First thing we're going to do, you're going to learn how to make the schedule for your classes. Now, this is a copy of my folder for my stats class. On the front of this folder, and just one folder, you're going to make a schedule for the entire quarter or semester. Now, you want one square for each day. As you can see, it's got the dates all along for the 5 days of the week. And on this schedule, I don't have anything on here except for my assignments. Now, you could print it off or you can write it out in colors. You need one of these awesome little pens that has multicolors on it. You're going to need this in general for like lots of stuff. What we're going to do is on this one sheet of paper, which has every day of the quarter or every day of the semester on it, you're going to write down the assignment. You're going to put it in a color for that class. This class is red. This is my stats class. So I put on the day that it's due, that has the date, what the assignment is in that color. This is my other class. It's got on that date that assignment. Unfortunately, I try to always have it in like one page with everything on it, but this semester I had to break it into two because it was 16 weeks and that was just way too much on one sheet of paper. But really, it should all be on one sheet of paper. Why is this? Because we will not go and flip through 2 sheets of paper to see what the assignments are. And you want to have it on the front with a clear cover so that all you have to do is pull this out and it's right there and you can see it and it's obvious. So, you're going to do this. Go right now, go open up Word on your computer, because you're obviously on your computer. Make a document, go up in the Word and there's like the little button where it says make a chart. You can pick the rows and columns. You want it to be 5 columns wide and then however many rows as there are weeks in your quarter or semester. And you make it and then you start numbering and you can number all the way through every single day. So go do that right now, okay? I'll wait. Alright, let's pretend you just did that. Hopefully you did. Alright, so I have this. Take your pen. Write everything in, all your assignments. You're going to have to go through the syllabus for each class and put them in there. And then at the bottom, you're also going to write in when is the final. You're going to write what the final is, what time it is, what room it's in, what building it's in, and what you have to bring with you. For example, for this final, I had to bring my ID, my student ID, and I could have earplugs and a timer with me. And I also have to ask at the beginning of the final, how long is the final? Because sometimes I get confused and think, oh, it's like an hour with a 10-minute break, when really it's like 50 minutes with a 10-minute break. And that's, that's a big difference, whether it's an hour or whether it's 15 minutes. So this is the first lesson because this is the most important thing that you can do in college. The hard thing about college and ADD is that in high school, there's always somebody there to tell you when things are due. In college, nobody's going to tell you. They give you the syllabus at the beginning and they assume that you'll figure it out. But you and I both know that you will forget, because I forgot all the time and it just happens. So, most important. And if this is your most common class, then this is the one that you want to put the schedule on. Now this is a clear cover, and we're going to open this up and see what else you do. I'd put one of these on the cover of every folder, but I'd only have one that was my most common class where I'd actually go and mark things off. But if you can put one on the cover of every folder, then that's good, because that means that no matter what folder you look at, oh my gosh, there's one coming up. And so like what I do is I'd be right here and I'd be going along and I'd be able to see I have 2 assignments due at the end of the week. So I have this one first. I'd better be done with it by here so that I can get started on this one by here. And then I would know. And sometimes I would even get to here and I'd realize, oh my gosh, I'm up here. I've got like 5 assignments due here. I'd better get my ass moving. So anyway, this is wonderful reference so that you can glance at it and you can get good estimation of how long you should be spending on your assignments, because they're coming up and you got to be ready for them. So it's a good way to keep yourself on point. It's wonderful. And after I started doing this and other people saw it, other people started doing it too. So don't feel silly, because it might be that you're learning stuff that other people haven't had to learn yet, and then later they'll be like, oh, that was a brilliant idea. So let's open it up and notice that I've written, this is the stats class binder, so I wrote the word stats at the top because, you know, I'll easily grab the wrong one if I'm not careful. So I open it up, and I have gone, and I have a fairly good professor for this class, so he has given us the slides for every single class. And this is awesome. When a professor does this, this is the sign of a good professor. What you need to do is you need to print out every single slide for the entire semester, the entire quarter at the beginning. And you do this because you know darn well that you will forget to print out the slides in the morning, or you won't have time, or you'll be busy or whatever. So whatever you have to do, print them out. If the professor doesn't put them up, you know, very gently say, hey, I have a disability, I need you to put them up. If you haven't created them yet, please at least put them up a week ahead of time, and, you know, really, you should already have your slides created. I mean, you can't really say that to them, but a good professor already has all their slides done. So let's just hope and assume that they've already got everything up there. Otherwise, you're going to have to put it in your schedule to go print out the slides at like the beginning of the week, because that way you don't have to remember before class. But let's say that you have all the slides, right? So you want to print all your slides, every single slide, no matter how stupid and silly, because sometimes they'll say things at the beginning like, you know, your assignments have to be in on time with a cover sheet. And if you don't have the slide that says that, then you forget and you don't realize. So print all your slides, and you don't want to fill the entire page with slides. You actually want to leave some space for writing notes. And you also want to leave the side page blank. And so what you're going to do is, in class, while he's talking, you have your highlighter and you have your pencil or pen, and you highlight some of the stuff that he's talking about. And try not to highlight everything, but just try and highlight the words that you don't really know, or the stuff that is sort of a little bit, seems important, but you're not real sure what it is. Just highlight it, and then that way you can go back and look at it. Whenever they write something on the board, you have to write it down. Maybe you have a note taker, that's wonderful, but you should take light notes as well for yourself. At least I needed to, because it helped me sort of focus. Now sometimes I would get to start taking lots and lots of notes, and that would be very bad. So work with it yourself, but in general I wouldn't suggest letting your note taker take all the notes. Just write, you know, like maybe even highlight stuff, and that's how you take your notes while you're going along. So you take your notes, you're going along, and part of the reason that you want to do this is, actually, if you notice, I switched from doing notes. Here I have notes, I have them on the right side of the page, except that I'm a right-handed person. So then on the left side of the page, you can just see that I've divided it into 4 squares, and I have the notes for each of those slides on there. So I have 4 slides, and I've divided the side page into 4 sections, and each slide gets notes. And either I write them on here or I write them on here. But the reason that I do the extra page later, I put my slides on the left side of the page, so I'm right-handed, so I can write faster. So think about your handedness when you print these out. So actually, I printed them out and then laid them backwards, or I printed them out backwards and then laid them over and put them in. The reason you do this is because sometimes they put assignments up on the board, or they'll work through problems, right? And you need lots of extra space to do that. And if you do it right next to the notes where they're talking, then you can quickly associate, this is the problem that they were doing in class while they were talking about these notes. So I know for sure that these two things go together, or at least in their mind, these two things go together. Now maybe really they're referencing a couple of slides back, but this is where this goes. Now I'm all for taking notes and all that kind of stuff in a separate notebook so that you can do your homework assignments for it, but I like this a lot better because this way I can reference back to that problem, and then I can go, okay, so based on these notes that I just read, I can go forward a couple of slides and say, what's the next thing that they start to work in? Because in the future, when I see a problem like this, I can flip forward a few slides and say, okay, there'll be another problem that has to do with these slides. And it's easier for me to predict what kind of questions is going to be on this quiz or this exam or in this homework, because I know that they're going to follow along. This sort of question goes with these sorts of slides. Makes it simpler. So Lots of color. If you can, keep it to 1 or 2 highlighters. So I have highlighters that go with words. And then I have my special orange highlighter, and every so often when he says, this is really important, or this is going to be on the quiz, I pull out my orange highlighter, which is actually next to me, and I square around that slide, and I put a star so that I can remember this is where he said this is important. And colors are very helpful instead of words, because really there's too many words all over the darn place, so highlighters are nice for that. If you get too many colored highlighters, you forget what all the colors mean, so 2 is good. So this is how you make your notes. You put all the slides at the beginning. I have all the slides for the whole class, and I go through the whole class. Then at the end, I actually printed off the copies of the syllabus. I printed off the copies of all the other stuff that they have in there on the website for the class. Principles and policies, all that nonsense. And then whenever there was paper homework assignments that he gave us to print off, because he gave us our assignments at the beginning, the whole semester's assignments, I printed those off too and have them all in the back. So I have all my assignments back here. I didn't know how to do them yet, but I have them back there so that when it comes time for me to do them, I can just pull them out and start doing them. I don't have to go print them off. So you want to have everything in one place. The other thing is if you can, you bind this. Like this, fortunately, our student's office has binding capabilities, and for like $1 or $2, you can get the whole thing bound, which I did. If you can do this at home, if you can go to Kinko's, do it, because having it all in one place and it's all there and it stays in whatever order is good. If you want to put it in a 3-ring binder, that's good too. Do it. I liked this because it's smaller and it's easier to pull in and out of my backpack, and it feels a little neater, so I'm less likely to take it out and reorganize it if I want to put extra stuff in there. Maybe you like to put extra stuff in there, and maybe you have to. In that case, you should get a 3-ring binder. So, first things first, go over this again. You're going to make your wonderful everything on one page assignment calendar. Every single day of the quarter and semester goes on here. Put the name of the class at the top. You put in different colors the different assignments and what day they're due. Then you print everything off. You print everything off. If you are right-handed, you print it so it's going to be on the left side. You print and bind it so it's on the left side. If you are left-handed, you print and bind it so it's on the right side, and you leave the other half of the side paper blank so that you can write notes and they're in the same place as them. And you take 2 highlighters and you go through along with all your stuff. All right, get to work.